Hey, everybody, this is Nolen Davis with Saving Sense Podcast. And today is episode 1, and I have a great treat for you. If you're looking up anything about our podcast, we're always trying to save you money, make you money, give you the hacks to be as efficient and as effective as possible while educating you on why and how you need to do what you need to do. One of the things that's been a big buzz these days is that the gas prices, they go up and down, and when they were at the peak, people were pissed off. Simple as that. So I really got somebody that can explain how gas works. This guy is doing some things all over the world. He was just in Ecuador last week. He's in Utah right now. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dr. Robert Celaya. How are you, Dr. Robert?
Hey, Nolan, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm doing great. Yes, that's true. I just came back from a long trip to Ecuador. I was there for approximately 1 month and promoting the importance of how to better use our gasoline in our vehicles or diesel in our trucks, and results are incredible. People accepted extraordinary very well, this type of teachings in how to get a better, improvements for their vehicles and for their financials as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so grateful that you came on and helped me launch episode 1. But before we get into things, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background. How did you take this journey?
Well, yes, I am. I was born in Mexico, and since I was a child, I always wanted to become an engineer. That was my passion. That was my dream. In 1984, I started my, university, and I graduated with my bachelor in science as a mechanical engineer. In addition to that, I had the opportunity to complete a master's degree as an industrial engineer, and I dedicated my practically 25 years of my life on the metal mechanic environment. I started working on the border in Arizona for almost 25 years, and since then, I always have been involved with any kind of mechanical engineering systems. Have the opportunity to travel around the world, opening new companies, developing new processes, manufacturing processes. Have the opportunity to work in China for almost 3 months, and then also in Germany, Italy, and of course here in the United States, transferring companies or different manufacturing processes to Mexico. And well, that was my life for almost 25 years.
Mm.
And the nice thing on this is that I had the opportunity to interact with many engineers around the world. So I gained a lot of experience, and that's practically what has been my life for almost 35 years now of experience on the field.
Okay. These last 35 years, why are you so passionate about engineering? Like what is it about engineering that just gets you going for the last 35 years?
Well, one of the things that I have on my life is that as an engineer, I I always want to know how to create things more easy. What
Mm.
can I do from my end in order to make things happen? And as an engineer, always when you have an opportunity, for instance, how to reduce, how to get more mileage per gallon, say, how come? How's that? I mean, is that true? As an engineer, when you are very patient, so you are saying, okay, I like the idea, but first of all, I need to instruct myself if that really works. And I started, taking the products and putting into different third-party labs just to make sure that that works before
Mm.
I, get the knowledge. So as an engineer, my passion is really to understand deeply the concept of the product. So then I can really understand what I'm going to offer in order to improve it or to make people a more with more knowledge and to understand better. So that's my passion indeed.
So this show is specifically on gas, right? And so with your background and your knowledge in science, how does gas work? Can you tell us that on the basics?
Yeah, on the basics. So gasoline works because when it goes into the combustion chamber, so it gets into the injectors sprays into the combustion chamber, and then it gets compressed, and then it gets catches fire, and when it catches fire in a motor, for instance, the piston goes up and down, and that's the way it works. So gasoline, one of the things that we have with gasoline is the point of ignition inside of the combustion chamber. The point of ignition in the combustion chamber, it's approximately 1600 degrees in less than a second. So that process that it takes with it combust the gasoline inside of the motor, that what it makes the pistons go up and down, and that what it makes a motor or an engine to work.
Okay, okay. So what determines the miles per gallon? Because everybody's trying to get the most miles per gallon. So is it the quality of fuel from 87, 89, or 93, the octane, or is it how the how many pistons you have? What determines the miles per gallon?
Miles per gallon are determined basically based on the quality of the fuel. Let's suppose that we have, a super fuel or a premium fuel with 93 octanes. So definitely you will get more miles per gallon compared to an 87, octanes level in the gasoline with a medium grade gasoline. That what it makes the difference. So as much octane, which is the factor point that you have in the gasoline, as much better is the or higher is the octane level, more miles per gallon you will get, definitely.
Okay, okay. Now we hear a lot about the carbon in the air, the pollution that cars are putting out there. How does the gas give you a direct link to the pollution that we're putting out? Is it less pollution with higher octane? Is it, as we talk about, better miles per gallon? Is it a way that we can decrease the pollution altogether? How does that work, Doc?
I'm going to explain about the pollution, how the pollution it's being formed when you are using a gasoline motor. So the gasoline gets into the injector sprays it onto the into the combustion chamber. If the gasoline that you are putting inside of the combustion chamber is in a good grade, you will have a better burn. So as much burn you have of that gasoline inside of the combustion chamber, the less emissions you will have in your tailpipe in your vehicle. Now, let's suppose that we have an 85, 82 gasoline grade.
Okay.
So we are putting that gasoline, the gasoline again goes into the motor, goes into the combustion chamber, catches fire, goes up to 1600 degrees in less than a second. So what is going to happen with that type of quality of fuel or gasoline? So what is going to happen? You will have less fuel, less gasoline that will be burned. As a result, you will have more black smoke, which is emissions. In other words, emissions, pollution is unburned fuel. That's what it happens. So that's why it's so important that we have a good quality of our gasoline so then we can have less emissions by burning completely that gasoline.
Got you. So the better the gasoline, the more the gasoline burns completely, and then that's less emissions in the air and carbon for our environment, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, okay.
Positive.
Okay. So saving sense is all about how to save. And it sounds as if we should be buying 93 instead of 87, which is more expensive, but you actually have a hack that's going to help with the life of the engine, decrease the emissions, and increase your miles per gallon just the way that you explained. So, Dr. Robert, tell us, what is this hack that we have?
Yes, practically 3 months ago, we started with a new solution for this type of problem. Definitely, it is hard to think in trying to get a 93 octanes gasoline. It is very expensive. Um, right now, we are facing worldwide this particular problem with increase in the fuel worldwide. It is a big problem. As a result, our product, we have a new product named Govee. So Govee, it's a new product based on our organometallic chemistry plus a bonding agent that it makes the pill, the tablet, and that what it makes, it's something very, very important. The good thing about this is that this product is basically based on six Nobel Prize, Nobel Prize, awards. That's the
Nobel
technology.
Prize in
Yeah,
chemistry. Yep, the
in
Nobel
chemistry,
Prize.
Nobel Prize in chemistry, yes. And there was a very important one back in 1973 with two scientists. One of those was Otto Fischer. These guys found or discovered the way of stabilizing a molecule in the fuel. In other words, the fuel, let's talk about the gasoline, for instance, it has a molecule that is totally unstable.
Mm,
Now, these scientists found, which is well known as the sandwich complex, which is a component of the metallurgin compounds inside of the sandwich type. In other words, they found the way to stabilize the molecule that is totally unstable. With
hmm.
this new discover, that molecule is going to be stable. And by doing that, that was the discovery, one of the most important, based on an organometallic chemistry. By using this type of formula, this type of compound, organometallic compound, and getting that stabilization of these molecules, once you are mixing this with your gasoline, and as a result, we will have that a gasoline that is in the range of 87 octanes, it will go up to 3 octanes. So, in other words, now we will have a gasoline with a 90 octanes, which is almost a premium gasoline. And by doing that, that's the good thing because we will have more power performance in our motor and we will have more mileage per gallon. And also, we will get less emissions. So, we will reduce the emissions in our vehicle, which is extraordinary, a good thing.
Okay. Now, what else? This helps the life of the engine. How? How does it do that?
Right. Um, Let me just go back a little bit about the combustion chamber and how does it work. Let's talk about the regular gasoline, or
Okay.
let's say an 87, octanes gasoline. How does it work? So let's just imagine a chart in which we have on the first section one bar with 1600 degrees and zero point 0.8 seconds. So very limited time to burn the fuel. That's what it happens normally by putting Govee tablet in your gasoline tank. So automatically that gasoline, the 87 gasoline, will become a super gasoline. Let's put it on that way. So we'll go up to 90 octane just immediately, just in minutes. You will get that change. The good thing is that with Govee, we are changing the molecular structure of the gasoline but not changing the technical specification of the gasoline. So that's very important because gasoline by itself, it has a carbon chain, which is a linear shape, which is a linear carbon chain shape. By putting Govee, we are changing from a linear to a branch carbon chain. So that technology, it's capable to change the molecular structure of the gasoline, and that is going to allow inside of the combustion chamber to have now a different story. In lieu of burning that gasoline at 1600 degrees, now the gasoline, it will have a point of ignition at just 900 degrees. And the time for burning that fuel, it will go from zero point 0.8 seconds up to 2.5 seconds. Now, what's happening inside of the combustion chamber? Now we will have more time to burn the fuel, and that extra burn will allow to avoid the carbon deposits, will avoid the oxidation process. Regular fuel, regular gasoline, in other words, by nature, it has, and by the molecular structure, which is a carbon chain linear type, that causes acidification inside of the combustion chamber. And that acidification, along with a high temperature inside of the combustion chamber, that creates carbon deposits.
Got
So
you.
carbon deposits is as a result of an acidification process that comes from the natural gasoline. The good thing here with our alternative, Govee, by putting that, it will change the molecular structure. Then the point of ignition, it will not be 1600 degrees. Now it will be at 900 degrees, 2.5 seconds. Now that gasoline will be able to have a more time for burning inside of the combustion chamber. And as a result, there will not be carbon deposits inside of the combustion chamber. And as a result, we will extend the life of the motors. Now, let's talk about those carbon particles inside of the motor.
I was gonna
As
ask
much,
about that. I was
yeah,
gonna say those carbon deposits that hurts the motor, correct?
that is correct. That's what I just wanted to explain why those carbon deposits are formed inside of the combustion chamber.
Okay.
Now that we know how those carbon deposits are formed, now that we understand how can we prevent of those carbon deposits, now we'll understand what those carbons, what happens with those carbons. So that those particles of carbon deposits in mixed with the oil, the motor oil, at a high temperature, those microscopic deposits will start rubbing, will start with a friction on the metals when you have your pistons going up and down, up and down. Though that will create, which is named the friction inside of the metals, and as a result, will start, causing that the motor will start losing the performance on the motor. Why? Because those carbon deposits are rubbing the metals inside of the cylinder and the pistons, and eventually will damage our motor. That's what it happens with those carbon deposits. Microscopic particles creates a lot of damage in our motor eventually.
So once we start to use this Govee pill and tablet in our tanks, it prevents further carbon deposits, but does it eliminate the carbon deposits that's already there?
Well, that's a great question. Let me explain to you what the organometallic chemistry does with Govee. Those carbon deposits, so a couple of things. No, number one, carbon deposits is unburned fuel. Number one,
Okay.
the black smoke that we are seeing, it's unburned fuel. So that what it is. Now, by using Govee tablets, what is going to happen with those carbon deposits? Those carbon deposits, since it is an unburned fuel, now we will have the length of time that we will be able to burn that fuel. As a result, that deposits, those carbon deposits, that oxidation that we have inside of the particles of the combustion chamber or the components will
Hmm.
be burned, and as a result will be used inside of the combustion chamber, and as a result the surface of those components will be practically with free of particles of carbon deposits.
And that's why you get your acceleration back, because I felt like my acceleration has come back.
You get acceleration,
Right.
same amount of fuel that goes into the combustion chamber as a result of getting a better quality of fuel. Then we will have a lower point of ignition for gasoline, an extended period to to burn that gasoline, and then we will get with same amount of fuel more miles per gallon. Same amount of fuel, we will have less carbon deposits inside the motor. Same type of fuel, we will have less emissions because now, since we have from zero point 0.8 up to 2.5 seconds, that extra burn of fuel, as a result, we will not get the black smoke, the emissions to the environment.
Now, because we're changing the molecular structure of the gas, does that do anything to harm the engine?
No, not at all, because this is just more, this is more regarding to the gasoline. It is like for instance, in your vehicle, Nolan. Let's suppose that you are, filling your tank with 87 gasoline tank.
Hmm.
So what happens if you are putting the 93, 95 gasoline? Nothing. It's gonna run better. It will
Right.
give you more miles per gallon. It will get less, emissions, and the power, the performance of your model will be absolutely better. So that's what it does. So basically, what we do with Govee, it's changing that molecular structure, getting a gasoline from uh, 87 up to 90, 93 points of octane, which is a better gasoline. That's what it does. That's why I said since the beginning that thanks to this, Nobel Prize in chemistry, which is, was very well accepted, that we are not changing the product specification, the technical specification in the gasoline. In other
Right.
words, gasoline will continue being, will continue being a gasoline, but a better gasoline. But it doesn't change the technical specs on that fuel, either if it's gasoline, diesel, or any other kind of hydrocarbon fuel. Doesn't change that, just improves it. That's what it does.
Okay. So this is for gas and diesel. It's a Nobel Prize winning formula and it's EPA registered as well, correct?
That is correct. So it's important that to have that the ability of an additive to improve the motor performance, yes, has to be an EPA registered. We are an EPA registered company. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, with all of this newfound information, so many times people have a podcast or they have a radio show. I've been on radio for a while, and we have sponsors that come on, and we're like, "Hey, you guys need to buy this, and you guys need to buy that." What I want to do is because you guys are building communities all around the world, and we're going to get to that in 1 second. But what I want to do is I want to open this up on two sides. One, Dr. Robert, you said that you'll get with me at least once a month so we can have these type of discussions because I feel that we're in an age where innovation and technology is taking over, right? Where we think about our bodies for supplements and what we need for longer lasting bodies and a healthier lifestyle. Um, we now have the opportunity to extend the life of our engine, improve the environment for, or at least our part of the environment, and pay less. So for everybody that's spending 93 or buying 93 octane, you now can go to 87. That's already saving you right there. It's saving you the longevity of your engine, which I don't know if you guys know this, but right now, what's today's date? September 2nd, there's a
Yeah.
shortage of cars and the used car market is crazy where the prices are skyrocketing, so you're protecting your return on investment. And again, the miles per gallon, the environment, your car return on the investment. Those things are major major factors of why you should at least try the pill. And we're going to get to that part in a minute. But what I'm saying is, with you coming back every month, now anybody who sends me a question, I can ask you. So we can have people that are engaged. So because everybody thinks they know it all, right? Even though
Hmm.
they've not had 35 years of being an engineer, they've not been all over the world with industrial mechanic degrees, right? So you can literally do that. But the other side to it is that people that are using this pill, I'm going to invite them on the show and we're going to do small segments for them to tell us about their performance, the improvement, how it drives, the difference that they're seeing in their pocketbook. All of those things is going to be right here on Saving Sense every episode. So I want to open that up, that this is not just a sponsorship type of thing. This literally can improve our environment and be a direct link to savings in your pocket. But Dr. Robert, I do have a question for you. So when you say
Hmm.
one pill increases by 3 octane, for all of the people that are driving Porsches, Mercedes Benz, I actually got a Volvo. I've only put 93 in my car. Can I put 2 pills in my tank to get it to
It is.
93?
No, 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 no. It is not required to do that. I have many vehicles here in the US, here in the United States, also Mexico, Colombia, and Ecuador. I'm talking about, luxury vehicles,
Yes.
including which is BMWs, Volvos, including Porsche, Ferraris, and all those kind of vehicles. So the good thing here is that it is not required to put 2 tablets to go, above that. No, no, no. It's not necessary. So all of the vehicles, they were at the beginning, they were very reluctant, the owners of these vehicles, to go down and use Govee because they were concerned if that, "Oh, I don't know if that's gonna work for me." They said. Well, I
Right.
said, just try it. Just try it. This is amazing. When they tried it, they were delighted with the results because now they can run a luxury vehicle, but with 87 octanes gasoline, which is extraordinary because you have exactly same performance but with a less cost in the fuel.
Right.
And not only that, that's just the cost of the fuel. But in addition to that, you mentioned it clearly, we are also extending the life of the engine, which is very important, especially for this type of vehicles. And on the other side, also, we have the reduction on the emissions, which is extraordinary very well because uh, just last night, I just had a conversation with one of my uh, customers in Ecuador. Let me tell you this story. This guy, he bought this vehicle, brand new vehicle, for Uber platform, and he's been using it for one and a half year now. So he said, "Well, my vehicle is very brand new vehicle, so I don't know if I'm gonna put this tablet in my vehicle." I said, "Just try it." So he submitted, before that, he submitted the car for emissions. And of course, it presented a lot of deficiencies, a lot of emissions, those toxic, smoke, toxic gases. And he called me last week and he said, "Well, what can I do?" And I said, "Well, you have 2 options. Number one, spend a lot of money with the mechanic and make a lot of adjustments in your motor, changes a lot of the, filters and sensors and so far, so on. Or you can use our product, Govee." So he said, "Well, explain to me a little bit about Gobi." And I said, "Well, easily. This product is not a magic tablet. This is a science tablet. This is
Right.
a 6 Nobel Prize in chemistry tablet. And when we are talking about Nobel Prize in chemistry, we are talking about science. Indeed, we can use this science for the benefit of our vehicles, of our pocket, and for the world." And he said, "Okay, let's do it. I mean, I'm gonna try." So he started putting the tablets inside of his car, and it was amazing. 3 days later, he came back to me last night and he said, Robert, I would like you to look at my report. He's gonna send it to me in a few minutes. And he said, it is just amazing because I have the first emission test that I did to my vehicle a year and a half ago. And now basically I'm seeing better compared to 1 year and a half ago. So it is like my vehicle is not creating any type of emissions. It is just amazing. And I said, yes, that's what the technology does. I mean, that's what it Govee does. Basically helps your motor for better performance, and most important, it will practically reduce Nolen to zero. It is just amazing. And I will be able probably next month to present those results so you can see it, and
I
you
would
will
love that.
be more than happy because that's what the product does. That's what the technology that we have does. Really helps the environment. Really, it means that by not having those emissions, it means that we are burning the fuel practically completely, not 100%, but pretty close to that.
Right.
And in addition to that, the carbon deposits, which are very critical for gasoline filters, for gasoline pumps, for oxygen sensors, for many other components, spark plugs, et cetera, and the damage to the engine. So that's not going to happen anymore. Indeed, your oil, your motor oil, you will see that it's an amber color, yellow color. So it will take longer to get that type of black oil, the burn
Mm,
oil. So it will
right.
take longer because that black color that we see on our motor oil is because of the carbon deposits in combination with the high temperature of the oil. So those are the things that you will have those benefits in addition to that. So that's the great testimonial that we have this morning, and I'm very pleased to share with you and your audience.
Absolutely. I definitely want to follow up with that, but I want people to know all of the savings that hit your pocket immediately. First and foremost, if you're spending 93, you now can go to 87. That's a big savings right then and there, right? But then, second of all, it improves your miles per gallon. What does that mean? That means that you can go more miles, up to 20% more miles on the same tank, same amount of gas. If you had 20 gallons, a 20-gallon tank, and you took 20 gallons to fill up on 93, you now can take 20 gallons to fill up on 87. That's a money difference right there.
Right?
But if you're only going 400 miles on a full tank, if you're now going 480 miles, you're extending exactly what you have going on in the tank. So you're saving, putting money back in your pocket, double fold, right? And
Mhm.
so with us being saving sense, we're all about the savings, but in the long term, you're protecting your engine. I got a guy that takes pride in um in having cars like forever. He buys a new car and he'll say, "Look, I got 400,000 miles on it," right? And he drives all over the place, still driving great. And it's not a lot of people that can say they had a car that they've put 400,000 miles on. Now you can literally be in that type of position that, if you get tired of the car, I get it, right? And I think, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about men and women, but men tend to keep their cars forever. Women to get tired of the aesthetics of the car and say, "Oh, I need a new look," right? Guys,
Mhm.
we can actually have underwear that has holes in it and say, "Hey, they still work," right? So we're just those types of people. But if you're trying to really keep the longevity of your car, if you care, and this is just a byproduct, the if you care about the environment, you don't even have to go out of your way. You can just literally try this product just for the savings alone, and really protecting your investment, which is your car, because cars are not inexpensive these days, right? Especially right
Mhm.
now. Um, and then still impact the environment in a positive way, knowing that you're doing your part is absolutely phenomenal. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give people a website where they can get uh, a little something extra that we've kicked in because we are saving cents. But I want to ask you, Dr. Robert, is it anything you want to say before we go?
Yes, let me just, I want to share with you a story with a taxi driver in Ecuador.
Okay.
And let me just give you an idea so people can understand and they can translate that type of information to here to the state, which I'm going to, I want to conclude same type of analysis report. But I was with, in Ecuador, in Quito, the capital. And one of the ladies came up for me and they picked me up. And I said, okay. And I asked her, how much are you spending on a daily basis in gasoline? And she said, oh, it's around $15 every day. And I work from Monday to Saturday, so 6 days a week. Okay, I said,
Wow.
fine. Okay. How much are you paying per gallon? She said, the gallon of a gasoline costs $2.40. That's the cost of a gasoline in Ecuador, which is very expensive for that type of, economy.
Hmm.
So, and I said, okay, what about if I can tell you that I have a pill, tablet, that if you are paying $2.40 per gallon, what about if I can tell you that including the cost of the tablet, I can reduce the cost of the gasoline per gallon? I say, how come? Well, from 2.40, from $2.40, I'm
Hmm.
gonna drop it to $2 with 8 cents. And she asked me, how can I do that? It's are you serious? Are you telling me the truth? Because just I don't know if you know, but 2 months ago there was a lot of disturbance in Ecuador because the government tried to increase around the 10 or 12 cents per gallon, and there was a big disaster. People started making a lot of controversial in the cities, and they stopped airplanes, stopped everything. That was a nightmare. And now you're telling me from that I can save back practically from $2.40 to $2.08. Yes, and this is the math behind those calculations. So I'm going to talk about Ecuador. So it's $2.40 per gallon. The cost of Govee to treat 1 gallon is just 16 cents in Ecuador. Yeah. So 2.40 plus 16 cents, that equals to 2.56 cents. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, it's important to give the benefit what the product does, which is at 20% of the cost of the gasoline. So 20% of $240 is 48 cents. So 2.56 minus 48 cents, that drops the cost to $2.08 just by using Govee. So in other words, it costs a lot of money not to use the product. It costs you, it is very expensive. So
Right.
you are losing money if you are not using the product. Now, on the other hand, just by getting the extra miles that we are getting per gallon, so the lady just talking about the savings, the annual savings, she's gonna get over $655 savings per year. And I told her,
Mm.
I was just writing the numbers, same amount, with calculating with 240 cents compared to 208, so that the total sums up to $650, something like that. So lady was really very, very happy because that's just talking about money. So a taxi driver in Ecuador that can save over $600 annual basis, because that's going to happen, that money stays at the gas station. See,
Hmm.
now I'm putting the money back to their pockets, to their family, and that's why I have been making a lot of progress with the people in Latin America specifically, because also the cost of the gasoline is so high. So I just wanted to share with you that experience, because it is incredible that we can put money back into your pocket, number one, by dropping the cost of the gasoline, and number two, because we are extending the life of the engine, and number three, helping our planet to get less emissions.
So I
Absolutely.
definitely want to thank you, sir, for being here. If you are looking for any type of hacks, if you're looking to save money, if you're looking to make money, or you just want to be in the know of what's really going on, Saving Sense is the podcast for you. I'm Nolen Davis, and until next time, love to live to love, and be well.